Yeah. Now, okay, I think, okay, you got some idea what is a class and what is an object is. Okay, so with this idea about a class, okay, and what is an object and what is a classes. Now let's see what all the things a class can contain. Okay, see, I have been written some data members and I have been written some methods. So here I have been written what type of methods I have been written, what type of methods. Okay, what are the what type of methods. Okay, it can be static methods, it can be non-static methods, it can be static data members, it can be non-static data members. Okay, when I should use static members, when I should use non-static members. Okay, everything we'll see one by one here. So now what I'll be doing here is, so now I have a simple class. Consider, okay, I have a simple class. Okay, what are the things a class can consist of? Okay, here I have written simple pen class. So if I write a class, a simple test class, inside this test class, okay, inside the flower braces, okay, you will be having, so class, okay, name of the class, I'll give it as a simple test class. Inside this test class, okay, you can write, okay, you can notice it here, I have been written something called as a data members. Okay, then I have been written the methods. So class can have data members also, it can have the methods also. So inside this class, okay, you can have, okay, data members can be, it can be static data members and it can be non-static data members. It can be static and it can be non-static data members. Okay, so methods, okay, methods are also, okay, methods or the this methods can also be static and it can also be non-static. So class, okay, that is test class. Okay, you if you take any class, class can have a data members and it can have a methods. So what does the methods represents? I showed you. Okay, what are the what does this um, data member represents? Okay, I have been showed you. Okay, in the above example I have been showed you, showed the things to you. So it can have static members, okay, that is static data members, it can have a non-static data members, it can have a static methods, it can have a non-static methods. Now how to declare the static methods and how to declare the non-static methods. So here you can take a simple example, okay, a simple example of a person itself. Okay, I need to write a simple person class. So I'll write a class, name of the class. Okay, so name of the class I'll give it as person. Okay, I'll take a simple person class. Inside this class, okay, I said it can have a data members. Okay, I need to represent a person as a simple Java class. For that I am writing a person class. So it can have a data members, it can have a methods, it can have a static data members, it can have a non-static data members. So for person, okay, so I'll be writing few properties. What are the properties I'll be writing? I'll be writing, so integer, okay, string, name of the person, name of the person, integer, height of the person, string, color of the person. Okay, all these things are the properties what I have been written, and all these things are the non-primitive, that is non-static data members what I have been written. So how it is non-static? Okay, so if you are not using any keyword, okay, if you're not using a keyword by name static, it will become a non-static data members. So name, okay, why, what kind of variables you should declare it as non-static? So the values which will be different for different person. Usually the name will be different for different person, height will be different for different persons, colors will be also different for different person. So these things, okay, so the unique values for a particular object, okay, all the unique values or the different values will be written, okay, will be declared as a non-static variables. Okay, and one more thing, okay, so we have these things, okay, these are the few things, okay, which will be different for different persons. So all these things, okay, I'll be declaring it as non-static. Okay, can you give me one property for a person which can be static? Okay, so exactly opposite to this thing is a static thing, that is if it is common for all the persons, if it is common for all the persons, okay, those kind of data members we will be declaring it as static. For a person, can you give me one example which can be static? Can you give me one example which can be static for a person? Yeah, nationality. Yeah, superb. Yeah. So here, okay, I'm not talking about the student. Okay, so I'm talking about a person. So someone said nationality. Yeah, nationality will be common. Okay, so if you take India, okay, nationality will be common for all the things. So that can be simple static variable. So static, okay, string. Okay, so nationality will be a static variable because this nationality, okay, if you take a Indian, okay, so for this person, okay, so the nationality will be common for all this thing. So for this, okay, I have been declared, okay, if you think that, okay, this is a common information which should be present in all the objects, okay, those kind of variables you should declare it as static. And non-static members, okay, if you feel that, okay, it should be different for different persons, okay, that is different objects will have different values, okay, those things has to be declared as non-static. Same thing with respect to methods also. Same thing with respect to methods also. Example, okay, I can take a simple example stating, okay, walking, okay, walking are the sleeping, seeing, all these things are the thing common for all the persons, okay, all the persons will perform the operation. So this method I'll declare it as static. Public static and type I'll give it as void, and method name I'll give it as sleeping. Sleeping. So the sleeping is a common property which will be present for all the persons. So I'll declare this as a static method. So the person, okay, so consider I have a person, okay, who will do only this special task. Okay, you will be having, each person will have its their own different things. So those things can be declared as non-static. So these are the things, okay, what you need to know here. So the class can have both static members and static data members, non-static data members, static methods and non-static methods. Okay, so it can have static methods and non-static methods also. So how to declare the static members? Just we'll be using a keyword by name static. If you see a static keyword, okay, it is a static data member. If you don't have a static member, it will become a non-static data member. What type of variables you should declare it as static? Okay, which are common for all the things, you should declare it as static. Okay, which are different for different individuals, okay, you should declare it as non-static. So these are the another things, okay, what has to be known here. Okay, you need to know these things as well. Okay, you got this thing, I guess. Yes or no? Yes, I guess. Yeah. See, this grooming should help you. Okay, so in home also, okay, you'll not do anything. Okay, I know the things. Okay, you don't have any other job, I guess. Okay, if you're not attending the grooming moments, okay, we can't help. That's it. I don't have any problem. Okay, because I already have a job. No worries. Okay, so you are the persons, okay, who should get the job. Okay, so if you attend the grooming, okay, it will be advantage for you, okay, so that you can clear the things easily. And one more thing, okay, if you are attending the this grooming, then only we'll send you for the requirement, or else, okay, will not send you for the requirement only. So do what are the things you want. Okay, so I think, okay, you are getting something about the class. What is a class? What is an object? How to declare a class? What are the things a class can have? All these things you're getting some idea, I guess. Yes. So, so so now with this idea, okay, so with this idea, okay, on this classes, okay, so now I have been declared few static members and I have been declared few non-static members of a class. So inside the class, if a class has some static members, okay, so how to give the values for this, means how to access this static members and how to access this non-static members. Before accessing, you need to know how to give the values for the static members and how to give the values for the non-static members of a class. How to give the values for the static members of a class and how to give a values for non-static members of a class. So if you want to give a values for the static members of a class, okay, directly we'll give. So to give a value for the static members, okay, directly we will be giving the values. Whereas to give the values for the non-static members, so we have two ways to give the values for non-static members. Okay, we have two ways to give the values for non-static members. Okay, two ways to give values for non-static members. So the giving the values for non-static members is what we call it as an initialization age. So we have a next thing by name initialization. We have something called as initialization. What does this initialization says is, so that is initialization is nothing but giving the values for non-static members. Giving values for non-static variables of a class. Non-static variables of a class is what we call it as an initialization is. And this initialization, that too we call this thing as a object initialization. We call this thing as a object initialization. So giving the values for the non-static variables of a class, okay, is what we call as a object initialization is. So to do this object initialization, that is to give the values for the non-static members, okay, we have two ways. As I said, we have two ways. So what are the two different ways we have? The first way is by using something called as non-static blocks. Give the values by using non-static blocks, and the other way is by using something called as constructor. So to give the values for the non-static members, okay, we have two ways. One is by using a non-static block, other thing is by using the constructor. For static variables, directly we'll give the values, okay, directly there only will be giving the values. Why? In the sense is, okay, it will be same value for all the objects. Whereas for non-static members, okay, to give the values, okay, we have two ways. One is, okay, by using non-static block, other thing is by using something called as constructor. These are the two ways of giving the values for non-static members. Okay, so yeah, my screen is, I think my screen is visible for everyone, I guess. Pavitra, only for you it is not visible. Okay, so now, okay, we got to know. Okay, we got to know, okay, what is this object initialization is? That is giving the values for the non-static members. So here we have few non-static members for person, okay, we have few non-static members. So giving the values for this non-static members is what we call it as an object initialization is. We have two ways of doing this thing. One is using non-static block, other thing is by using something called as constructor. So now what is this non-static block? When it will be executed? What is this constructor? When it will be executed? To know about these things, okay, you need to know something called as object creations. You need to know something called as object creations. Then only I can show you, okay, how to give the values for this non-static variables of a class. Okay, how to give the values for the non-static members of a class. Okay, then only I can show you. So now here, to give the values, okay, so to give the values, okay, I said, okay, we have two ways of giving the values. One is by using the non-static block, other thing is by using the constructors. So here, so if you want to know, okay, when these things will be executed, how the things will be executed, so you need to have some idea about, okay, you need to have some idea about something called as object creations. You need to have something about some knowledge about the object creations. Okay, then only I can explain these things. Okay, so we will see this object initialization in the later stages. Before that, we will see how to access the members of a class. Accessing the members of a class. Okay, it can be static members, it can be non-static members. So first we'll see accessing the static members of a class. So you already know these things. Okay, everyone will be knowing these things. Okay, to access the static members of a class, we will be using a simple name of the class. So using the name of the class only, we will be accessing the static member. So in the above example, okay, in the person class, in this person class, okay, I have a static variable by name nationality, which is a static variable. I have a static method by name sleeping, okay, so which is a static variable. So to access the static variables, I'll be using the class name. Class name what I have been given is person. So to access that functionality, so we will be using the class name. Example, here you can notice it here, person dot nationality. So this will give you the value which is present inside the nationality. To access that sleeping method, so person is a class name dot, okay, so sleeping is a static method, so we will be using a method that is called, we'll just call that particular method. This is how we will be accessing the static members of a class. In the same manner, we can access non-static members of a class. Okay, how to access the non-static members of a class? So to access the non-static members, accessing the non-static members, so members in the sense, okay, it can be method, it can be a this thing. So to access the non-static members, so first you need to create the object. How to access the non-static members? If someone asks how to create access the non-static members, by creating the object. Okay, by creating the object, okay, we can access the non-static members. Why we need to create the object to access the non-static members is, okay, so until and unless you create the object, okay, so non-static members will not be loaded into the object. So you must create the object to access the non-static members of a class. Without that, okay, you can't access the non-static members. You must create the object to create the to access the non-static members. Now, how to create the object? So to create the object, okay, we will be using the new keyword. Okay, how to create the object? So to create the object, use new keyword to create the object. New keyword to create the object. Example, so in the same person object I have, okay, I have a person class. In that person class, okay, I have few static members, I have few non-static members. Now I need to access the non-static members of a class. I said you need to create the object. To create the object, you must use a new keyword. So new person, just, okay, new person, okay, end the things with parenthesis. So now I have been created the object. So for this created object, okay, give some reference variable. So if you give some reference variable, that will be a non-primitive data type that is of the same type person. So person1 is equals to new person. So here, and I have been created an object and I have been given some reference variable for that person object. So whenever I write the statement, what are the things will happen internally in the memory? So whenever you try to create the object, so following steps will happen internally in the memory. First one is object will be created in the heap area. Will be created in heap area. Second thing, all the non-static members will be loaded into the memory. Okay, so it can be non-static methods, it can be non-static this thing. So all the non-static members will be loaded into the object. After this, we have something called as non-static block will be executed. And at last, okay, constructor will be executed. Constructors will be executed. So these four steps will happen whenever you create an object of any class. It can be any class. Okay, whenever the JVM encounters this statement, so the following things will happen in the memory. So what other things will happen? Object will be created in the heap area, non-static members will be loaded, okay, non-static block will be executed, and the constructors will be executed. So these things will happen for sure. Okay, these things will happen for sure Okay, so that is what we call it as. Okay, so only, okay, so these things will be happened. So then using this reference variable, using the reference variable only, I can access the non-static members of a class. So now I can access the non-static members, okay, by using these things, that is person dot. So what are the non-static members we have? Name is one thing what we have, we can access person1 p1 dot. Okay, so we have one more property, that is height and color, I guess. So height also I can access, color also I can access. P1 dot height, P1 dot color. So like this, I can access the non-static members of a class. So this is how we will be accessing the non-static members of a class. Okay, that is, you to access the non-static members, you need to create the object. How to create the object? Use the new keyword. So the following way is a thing, okay, which is used to create the object. So after this, how the object will be created. Okay, whenever I create the object, what all things will happen internally in the memory? These 4 points will happen for sure whenever you do the things. Non-static, that is, object will be created in the heap area, non-static members will be loaded, then the non-static block will be executed, and at last the constructors will be executed. What is this non-static block? What is this constructor? We'll see. Before that, you just know the things, this will happen. Okay, so whenever you create the object, okay, so you need to know these things for sure. So I'll share this file also. Okay, just you can keep these things as a reference. Okay, so and you can see the video also parallelly, so that you'll be having some idea, I guess. Okay, so now you got to know, okay, how to access the non-static members of a class and how to access the static members of a class. Now both the static members, okay, for static members only I have been given the values. Okay, for static members I have been given the value stating, okay, directly I have been given the values. But for non-static members, I didn't give any value. Okay, so without giving a value, I am trying to access. Okay, so if you try to access, so we will be having for non-static members and the static members for both. Okay, so for static members and non-static members of a class, you will be having some default values. For static members or non-static members of a class, you will be having some default values. Okay, you'll be having some default values. So what are the default values you'll be having? So the default values what you'll be having is depends on the data type. If it is a string, the default value for a static member, or it can be non-static member, okay, it will be null value. If it is an integer, you will be having the default value as 0. If it is a double, you'll be having the default value as 0.0. If it is a boolean, you'll be having the default value as false. Okay, like this, depending upon the data type, all the static members and non-static members will have the data, will have the default values depending upon the data types. Okay, you need to know these things. Okay, they might ask in the interviews, they might ask, okay, so what will be the default value for boolean? So the default value for the boolean will be false. Okay, so do the static members and non-static members will have the default values? Okay, the answer should be yes. Okay, both the things will have the default values. Okay, and the default values depends on the data types. Okay, you need to know these things for sure. You need to know this thing. So now how to give the values? Okay, it will be having the default values. Okay, I don't want to give the default values. I should give my own values. Okay, to give that own values only. Okay, that is giving your own values is what we call it as an object initialization is. So they might confuse you with the different terminologies stating, okay, so the difference between object initialization and object instantiation, we have something called as instantiation of an object also. So what does this instantiation is? Nothing but, so what are the statement I have been written here, that is person p1 is equals to new person. This line is what we call it as an instantiation. So the process of object creation is what we call it as an instantiation. Instantiation is different, initialization is different. So I don't know the spelling of instantiation, so only I'm not writing it here. So but I should write or else you will get confused. Okay, so initialization is different, instantiation is different. So what's happening? Okay, I have been launched a Google Chrome. Instantiation, this is what the spelling is. These are how I'll get the spellings. So this statement is what we call it as an instantiation is. So the process of object creation is what we call it as an instantiation, and initialization is giving the values for non-static members is what we call it as an initialization is. Okay, so these are the two different terminologies what you need to know here. So now, okay, that is object initialization can be done in two ways, I said. Okay, one is by using a non-static block, and other thing is by using something called as constructor. In both the places, okay, I'll be giving the values. That's it. Okay, I'll not do anything, just I'll be giving the values only. So you can take, okay, I'll take the same example what I have been written here. That is simple class by name person class. So how to initialize the object? We'll see it here. I have written a simple person class which has non-static variables, one static variable, one static member. It can have non-static data member as well. So now I have to give the values. To give the values, just we'll be using a non-static block. Okay, so let's see how to give the values using non-static block. So non-static block. So non-static block. Okay, block is just a set of instructions. Okay, and the blocks will not have any name. Okay, so just open the parenthesis and close the things. Open the flower base, close the flower base. Okay, and if you're not using a static keyword, it will become a non-static block. Inside this, okay, so for name, what are the name you want to give? You can give it here. So name, I'll give it as Raju. Give it as Raju. And height, okay, so height, okay, so height, I'll give it as, okay, 5.6. Then the color. Okay, so for color, I'll give some value stating in color. So color, I'll give it as some color. Okay, I have been given some color here. Okay, so this is what. Okay, so here, okay, so for name, I'm giving some value. For height, I'm giving some value. For color also, I'm giving some value here. So this is okay. So if we will be using a non-static block, and you know the things, whenever you create an object, non-static block will be executed. In that process, anyhow it is executing. So at that point of time, okay, so the values will be assigned. This is one way of assigning the values for non-static members. So now whenever we do these things, okay, whenever you try to create an object and do the operation, so what are the things will happen? Let's try to create an object stating person, some reference variable is equals to new person. So whenever you write this thing, so first object will be created in the heap area, non-static members will be loaded, then the non-static block will be executed, then the constructor will be executed. You know all these things. Okay, what other things will be happen? So using this reference variable, okay, if you try to access name, name will give the value. Okay, if you print the name value, name will give the value as Raju. And if you try to print, okay, p1 dot height, okay, so this will give you the value as 5.6. Okay, and if you try to access person1 dot color, okay, so this will give you the value as white. Okay, what are the value you have been given? Okay, same values will be given. So this way, okay, this is how we will be accessing the non-static members of a class. Okay, and this is how we'll be giving the values for the non-static members of a class. Okay, so are you getting these things? Okay, how to access the non-static members and how to give the values for non-static members? Yes or no? Yes, okay, non-static block has to be written inside the class. In Java, everything has to be written inside the class only. Okay, do you have any doubts? Any doubts here? No. Yeah. So I think this grooming is helping you, I guess. Okay, just I'm recalling the things. Already you know these things, just I'm recalling the stuff once again. Yeah, super. So very good. Okay, so now, okay, you got to know, okay, that is how to give the values, okay, using non-static block. Same thing, how to give the values using constructor. Okay, so I have a constructor. Okay, so using the other way is using constructor. Now to know about these things, first you need to know what is a constructor is. So the next way of giving the values for the non-static member is using constructors. So what is this constructors are? Okay, what is a constructor is? So constructor, we can say it is a special method. Constructor, it is a method. Okay, it is a special method. Okay, it's not a normal method, it's a special method. And the name of the constructor will be same as that of a class. Okay, so constructor name and the class name, both the things will be same. Constructor name and class name should be same. The class name should be same. Okay, if the method name and the constructor name, if the both the things are same, we call this thing as a constructor. Be same. Okay, then only we call this thing as a constructor. Okay, if someone asks what is a constructor means, constructor is a special method whose name will be same name as that of a class name. Example, okay, here I have a person constructor. So what is the use of constructor? To give that, to initialize the non-static members. Okay, the major use of the constructor is to initialize the non-static member. So here I have a person class, so I should write a constructor inside this class. So to write the constructor, so constructor name has to be same as that of a class name. It is a special method, I said. So it will not have any return type. Okay, it can have, we can give some access modifier, but it will not have any return type. Constructors will not have any return type. So what is the use of constructor? To initialize the object, that is to give the values for the non-static members. That is what a object initialization is. So inside this person, okay, I'll be giving the values. Okay, so you can give the values, what are the things you want. Okay, so on this constructor also has to be written inside the class only. So this is what my constructor is. So constructor. So here, okay, what are the values you want? You can give it here. Okay, if you want, okay, you can give same values or you can give the different values. If you give the different values, what are the values you have been given inside the constructor? Same values will be assigned. Okay, so this is what another way of giving the things. Okay, that is using constructor also we can initialize the non-static members of a class. And in the constructor, okay, you should have same name as that of a class, and the constructors will not have any return type. So we should not give any return type to a constructor. If you give a return type to a constructor, it will become a normal method. It will not become a special method. It will become a normal non-static method. So you should be very careful while writing the constructor. Okay, constructor will have same name as that of a class name. So what is the use of constructor? To initialize the non-static members of a class. Simple. So these three things has to be known here. So constructor name and class name will be same. Okay, first point. Second point is no return type. No return type to a constructor. Okay, so one more thing. Okay, that is what is the use of constructor? For object initialization. Object initialization. For the object initialization, we'll be using the constructors. Okay, just you know these three things. What happens if I give a return type? Okay, if you give a return type, it will become a normal method. It will be not anymore a special method. It will become a normal method. That's it. Okay, so these things, okay, you need to know for sure in the constructors. Okay, so these are the few important things. Okay, what you should know for sure in the basics of a oops. Okay, so if you want to learn any other oops concept, these basic things, okay, you should be having some understanding. Okay, so you got this understanding, I guess. Okay, so yes or no? Okay, you got this basic understanding. Okay, so if you want to understand object oriented principles, you should have some idea about the methods and what are the things I said. Okay, so what are the things a class can contain, how to access static members, how to access non-static member, how to declare static members, how to declare the non-static members. Okay, so what are the ways of giving the values for static members, what are the ways of giving the values for non-static members. Okay, you should be having this idea. With this idea only we can go further. Okay. Yeah. Yes, super, super, super. So now, with this idea, okay, we will see the basic OOPS concept of Java. So what are the OOPS concepts Java provides? Okay, so using this classes and objects, okay, what are the object-oriented principles which can be done? So using this, okay, Java, okay, so under this Java, we have four basic principles of OOPS. Four concepts, or we can say four basic concepts of OOPS. What are the four basic concepts of OOPS we have here? So the basic concepts of OOPS what we have here are, first one is inheritance. Inheritance. Second one is polymorphism. Third one is abstraction. And the last one is encapsulation. And the last one what we have is encapsulation. These are the four basic OOPS concepts what we have. So all these concepts, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation, all these things, okay, I'll be explaining it to you, okay, not in a theoretical manner, okay, so I'll be explaining the things to you with respect to some real-time examples so that you can relate the things and you can understand the things easily. So with respect to some real-time examples, okay, what is the inheritances? Okay, so if they ask, okay, polymorphism, real-time example, okay, so what is an abstraction? Can you give some example? What is an encapsulation? Can you give some real-time examples? With respect to real-time examples, okay, I'll be showing you. I'll just give a definition, okay, some real-time example about those things, okay, and what are the interview questions they might ask you on these topics. These things, okay, we'll be discussing here. Is it fine? Okay, so these what the thing what will. So someone is typing something. Okay, non-static block members inside the non-static blocks. Okay, I'll address those things also, Jim's. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, that is, can we access the non-static members inside the non-static block? All those things. Okay, so till here, do you have any doubts? Okay. No, I guess. So with this, okay, so now what you do is, okay, just take a break for 20 minutes. Okay, that is now the time is 12:40. Okay, take a break for 20 minutes. Okay, join the call, okay, around 1 o'clock. Okay, because okay, I can't be keep talking, okay, because this is an online class, I should be keep talking, there is no other way. So take a break for 20 minutes, okay, and join at, exactly at 1 o'clock. Okay, yeah, so that should, yes, okay, we'll join, okay, we'll see the things, okay, exactly at 1 o'clock. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, one sec, okay, I'll take the attendance. Yeah, okay, you can leave, okay, and you can join exactly at 1 o'clock. Okay, that's it guys, thank you.